According to the analysis of used diesel engine oil in overseas engine oil forums, there are many say that the used oil with an engine running time of 80 to 100 hours and mileage of 5,000 kilometers accelerates engine wear due to EGR soot and diesel dilution.
Oh, is that so? First of all, it's about the inflow of soot, right? I'd like to talk about it, but it also says diesel here. We have to talk about the diesel dilution separately, and in the case of diesel, fuel flows in. The problem is that the fuel is diluted in that way. Due to the nature of the engine itself, there are cases where it comes in due to the gap. The other thing is that using it for a long time can open a gap in the engine. That's why fuel dilution occurs. So in fact, diesel dilution should not be considered with soot. EGR is an abbreviation for exhaust gas recirculation. There's combustion gas from the combustion chamber. It's compressed and burnt, explodes, and it goes out. The EGR system is a system that turns this gas back into the intake manifold and enters the combustion chamber again. And there are two types of EGR. One is, as I just mentioned, there's a way to pull it in as soon as it goes out of the exhaust gas, and it's dirty when exhaust emissions go out. Exhaust gas also has dust called particulate matter, and there are many different kinds. Those things come in all at once. Improves it again and puts in dust filtered gas, install a DPF, and put the EGR on the back and let it come back in like this. That would actually make it cleaner. It's the form where exhaust gas goes out and comes in right away. There are two advantages. The first one is when it burns in the combustion chamber. It'd be great if it was 100% burned, but there are many cases where it doesn't burn 100% of the time. So there's soot there. So when these things burn up and go out, then it circulates once again and comes inside. And it circulates and comes in. Of course, less burnt fuel comes back in. Then these will burn again. This means that fuel efficiency is good. The second one is it needs oxygen. O2 to burn, it's going to mix with it and explode. It's impossible to carry an oxygen tank. So air is put in there. There is about 78% nitrogen in the air, followed by 21% oxygen, and there's CO2, etc. in the remaining 0.3%, but let's skip that. So 21% of the oxygen in here is mixed with the fuel and compressed and exploded. The more oxygen there is, the more explosions occur. Explosions occur strongly. What it means is that it significantly increases the temperature of the combustion chamber. Then, you know the gas from before. Then the combustion temperature rises less because it explodes with less oxygen. It lowers the temperature of the combustion chamber. So what are the benefits of lowering the temperature? If the temperature of the combustion chamber is high, there is a lot of pollutant NOx. It's NOx by mixing nitrogen and oxygen, and X is a number. Since there is less oxygen, the temperature of the combustion chamber goes down and less NOx is generated. So what's that pollutant from before? Things that have already been created are mixed together and going out. That kind of advantage arises. So what's the downside? Pollutants came in. There's something called particulate matter that I mentioned earlier. We call it PM. There's this dust in it. It'd be nice if they just stayed calm, but do they stay still? It's a bad ingredient. They eventually start to get stuck in the intake and exhaust valves. And diesel is a direct injection, right? It gets stuck in the injector or something like that. It even gets stuck on the inner wall or gets stuck in areas such as pistons or piston rings. So it generates a substance that causes wear and tear. When these substances are produced, they degrade the performance of the engine. Or you've heard of engine knocking, right? It's an incomplete explosion. Things like that happen that make a popping sound. And the other thing is that the soot melt into the engine oil. When it melts, it becomes sticky. Then the viscosity changes, so the lubricity decreases. Need to use more fuel. This phenomenon can also occur, and various problems can arise.
Was there an EGR in diesel cars from the beginning?
They didn't have a post-processing unit before. Gasoline cars had a three-way catalyst. Diesel had a catalyst or something. But environmental regulations began to take place. Euro 5, Euro 6, you've heard of Euro 4, things like that. And with this coming up, the SOx, NOx, PM regulations start to form. Then, to meet this requirement, the car company started researching the post-processing unit. That's why EGR was developed later. And DPF and SCR were developed as well. From Euro 6, the gasoline cars produced in Europe have a filter called GPF. Then, why is there no GPF in European cars in Korea? Our country is not Europe, right? That's why there's no GPF. If cars produced in Europe are imported in the future, it would have GPF. If you ride a gasoline car, you may get a warning light such as the filter is blocked.
I saw a picture before I came here, and there was a lot of carbon debris in EGR. What happens when there is so much carbon sludge?
Of course, fuel efficiency will change and fuel efficiency will decrease, and the temperature of the combustion chamber will change. If that happens, there will actually be more pollutants, and in fact, parts of the engine are not good if too much heat is applied. People can't get too hot. It's similar to that. If the parts are heated too much for a long time, the material can deteriorate. If that happens, there is a possibility that the parts will break quickly or crack.
Can the vibration of the vehicle be severe?
Of course, it can cause vibrations and engine knocking. As I said earlier, knocking is an abnormal explosion, so it has secondary damage because it damages other parts of the surface more or makes it break. And one thing to know is that diesel cars are bound to have a soot for the diesel engine.
Then, Dr. Kim, in your opinion, when is the best time to change the engine oil?
Wow, This is a hard question, isn't it? If you drive a car normally, there's an oil replacement cycle that the car company recommends. You can follow that. But if you're moving the car a little too hard, you'll have to replace it a little faster. This condition is actually only for typical engine oil made of Group 3, but if you used a very high quality engine oil with good base oil and additives, you can use it longer.
Then, will there be a big difference between genuine oil and metallocene?
I think there's a difference. To explain it well, I said that a substance called soot comes into the engine oil. Should we just leave it? We can't do that. Actually, there's an oil filter. It would be nice if it was filtered out there. To do that, there are detergent and dispersant. We call it dispersant a detergent. When they work well, they wrap around these materials and make them float. It floats the materials so that they can be filtered through a filter. When it filters, it feeds them back to the lubricant. So when it's sprayed, it's made clean. And if the lubricant is good, we only talked about dust earlier, but there are also mixed combustion debris. There are substances called microdieseling that become sludge. They combine together to form substances like that, but if the oil is good, soot is such a fine particle, so just leave it. Let's just say this is the case. There are base oils that have good solubility in these dust-producing substances, then it will seep in. Just like sugar dissolves in water, it seeps into the liquid. And then there's less chance that they're able to stick together. That's how it's made. It's going to last a little longer. So engine oil with good combination of basic oil and good additives such as detergents and dispersants. This can last longer than normal engine oil. However, it is impossible to get rid of dust. This is because dust is a characteristic of the combustion chamber.